Well, this is just a brief introduction. All this videotaping that I did this morning, I didn't think it was going to be as long as it was, and I don't want to drag out any of my video taping here on the homestead. So I've cut it in half, and so this is part two of part one, and this one will be a lot shorter, and it will show the official rapid planting of that nectarine tree. And thank you for bearing with me, okay? And so hope you enjoy this part two of planting of the nectarine tree. Well, I'm back. I've got my garden hat on and walking out here. What I want to do is just show you just real quick what I'm going to have to do to begin this planting of the nectarine tree. It does have some fruit on it from the nursery. I mean, the fruit nectarines were growing on it. And here's, I'm locking the gate here. As you can see there, I got this cute little horseshoe type of thing. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to show you a picture of the nectarine tree that I'm going to plant. I've got some dirt in the wheelbarrow that I got to dump in the back area, and I'll show you that real fast, and then I'm going to show you exactly where I'm going to plant it, okay? So here we go. So here's the nectarine tree, and I'm really reluctant to want to like knock these nectarines off of this tree. Look at the base. It's just really small. Get back here. Very small base. And see how the leaves are already turning yellow? That could be a couple reasons. One, too much water because we've had all these storms, and plus it was watered at the nursery. That could be happening, and that's not a good sign. I've been told that these nectarines on the tree could also be zapping all the nutrients that would go into, you know, the new growth. And I want to be able to see new growth. This has been my issue with the former nectarine trees or anything on our property, is that they get yellow like this. Then ultimately it all gets yellow and then the tree dies. I don't want to see that. So I'm going to have to go a different route here, and I'll explain as I'm about ready to plant. Now, turning the other direction here, this is some of the some new growth on some of the blackberry plants. I saw some mockingbirds land on the post here early this morning. I was headed out to Denton, and there's the barn. I got to clean that out too this summer, get that rearranged. But here's the other section that we are going to be ultimately planting blackberries out there and pumpkins and putting our raised gardens beds out here. There's plenty of space, acreage, land mass to do that. We're right off the 407, which is going to be great advertisement if the city will allow me to do that. Let's see, tomorrow I'm going to go to the Chamber of Commerce and get that resolved, and hopefully something will be able to work out for our future here with reaching out to the community. And here's the dirt. I'm just going to dump that real quick, and then I'll be back with planting. Okay, I decided to I opened up the barn door was already open, and I emptied that pile of dirt at the other side of our property here, and got the wheelbarrow back, and had trouble locating a shovel. I couldn't find the shovel. Found the shovel. It was in the other garage, and because that dirt was just really piled into that part of the John Deere attachment here that we use like a wheelbarrow. So anyway, and that's a leftover from over almost like 2 weeks ago when I was digging holes and planting the other berry plants and trees, whatever I was doing a couple weeks ago. So anyway, the wheelbarrow thing is in here, shovels here, and of course, yours truly, Mr. Nectarine tree, that wants to turn a little bit yellowish already, and I haven't even planted it yet, so it could die. Oh, no, I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to believe that. So what I want to show you here, hopefully it will work out. The circumference is probably about a good 12 inches, you know, around, or maybe a little bit larger. I need to dig a hole that's probably closer to like 24 inches, and I'm gonna I've got the camera on the it's not a tripod, it's the stick thing that you can hold your phones in, whatever they call it. In fact, I will get that name because this thing has been awesome, and I will actually promote it. I'll do that on perhaps one of the next 1 or 2 videos that I do. But I'm going to lift this thing up, and I want to just show you the topsoil thing that I got here. And hopefully that you can see that. Actually, that's, I can't see, it says Jamasco. It's all wet from last week's storm. Anyway, so getting back here on the videotape here with you. I got my little roller seat here. So I hate to do this on this, here, let me, you see that tree, nectarine tree. I'm going to take the nectarines off. You know what, if this tree can survive, I would rather it produce nectarines next year when it's for sure going to live, versus maybe getting something right now on this tree and then it dies. That's what it's been in the past. In the past, I've actually planted these type of fruit trees when we, even at the other home that the tract home that we came from, I had planted a lot of fruit trees back there, not realizing that in my heart was this whole thing with homesteading and this orchard scenario, and hopefully a future vegetable garden, and maybe down the road a bit, maybe some ducks and chickens that would be on the other side of the fence. Not a whole lot, but just maybe a few. Who knows? But I don't want to see this die, so I'm going to take them off. So hopefully you're not upset with me by doing that. If any of you planted this late in the season, today is June the 5th of 2019, and it's really too late. I would rather either plant late in the fall, prior to winter, or early spring. Just when the leaves are starting to come out, or before that. This is way too late, so I'm taking a chance. So here goes. So off with you. So this tree actually had 1, 2, 3. Wow. 4. You hear those mockingbirds? They're unruly. They stay on our roof, they watch, and when we're not around and when the dogs are not in the back, they come swooping down for the blackberries. And when we have grapes, they do everything they can to devour the grapes. What we've experienced in the past, since our grapes are Concord grapes, they have that real thick skin, and one day, at the other home that we used to live in, because we had one huge grapevine that was Concord like these 5 vines are that we have here in New Fairview on the Homestead, and we found dead birds in our back, and not killed by a cat or any wild animal or anything, but those, let's see, did I get everything? Including yellow leaves already? Sheesh. I don't like that. So hopefully we can avoid any future. So what I see here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That might have been the only fruits it ever produces, but I'm going to believe, and just, you know, tree, if you can hear me, produce. I'm going to take good care of you. You make it, okay? I want you to survive in your new home. So at that, I'm going to show you where I'm going to plant it. And that's where it's going to be. The next is I'm going to show the whole. Well, it's been quite a planting session, and I'm going to show you, if I haven't showed you already, yeah I did, I showed you the tree already, and I'm going to call it a day today. Not really, because I need to upload this video, so that's going to be a work in progress, though I do have software and it shouldn't take too long. And the sun wants to come out, and then it wants to go under, and then it gets real windy, and part of my recording, the wind blew the phone over when it was recording me digging, so sorry about that. I guess maybe I need to figure out a way to... We get a lot of wind out here on the homestead, and you can hear the road noise in the back sometimes. There's really no protection. I got to figure that out and need to find something to grow as a windbreaker out here. I'm going to have to do that. So we have quite a, I think I've showed you the grapes. They're just growing along the side of that trellis I built clear around the back of the house, and that's really exciting to see. And as I maybe made a comment before, there's not a whole lot of grapes on them this year because I literally sort of slaughtered their bottoms. So there'd be no growth at the bottom, and I think it affected producing fruit towards the top, or it slowed the momentum down. But boy, once they started to grab a hold of that trellis, they went like crazy. You know, it's like, can I show you this? It's just like all the way to the other end of the house. All of our trees are doing well. You know, I hate to say it, but I think some of the yellow that I see on some of the blackberries and some of the leaves on other trees out here in the fig trees, and even on my wisteria plant that I planted here on the handrail or going around part of the homestead here. I think it's when the dog lifts its leg and does its thing on the plant that discolors the leaves, and then I'm thinking it's the plant. Well, the plant is suffering. The plant really does suffer a lot when that happens, and that, my friends, is why I decided this year to not allow any growth to be at the bottom of the grapes, and that everything is to be towards the top. I just never thought it wouldn't be producing like it did last year. Oh my gosh, we have an island, a decent sized island in our kitchen, and grapes filled that whole island. And we had a lot of grapes, even with those ding-dong mockingbirds trying to eat them. We still had plenty. And we had the plums, and I cut too much back on the plum trees, and the peach tree, oh my gosh, I slaughtered that and cut way back, and yet that is growing like fantastic. So I'm not touching it. I'm going to do a little bit more studying on the pruning aspect of it. So this, and also in reference to fertilizing. Any of you have any suggestions on any of that? Please, please message me in the comments what you would recommend, especially with new trees and with current trees, and what you do with fruit trees and berry plants prior to the season when they can produce. And so here at the homestead, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. Please subscribe, as I am definitely wanting to grow. I'm learning, and I'm hoping to share my ups and downs and experiences that maybe perhaps you can relate to this too and feel like you're not the only one struggling or going through this new adventure of stepping out and homesteading from tract to homestead. And believe me, I've lived my whole life basically in a tract home. You know, with the last area had over 10,000 homes. They were nice homes, but you sort of feel like you were living in an apartment thing. And even though we have homes, 32 homes in this development here, every house has a little under 2 acres. And we are allowed to have wells here because we're grandfathered in from a 2010 situation. In Texas, it requires 2 acres in order to have a well, but we have less than 2 acres, but we were allowed to have a well. Praise God, awesome. And anyway, we live in Tornado Alley, and I'm gonna do that other update on the Tornado Master Shelter. So take care, God bless, and thank you all so much for being a part of RHFC's Fruits and Berries. Take care, guys.